In tough economic times, the second-hand car market tends to grow, and something like 70,000 vehicles are traded every single month in South Africa. Pre-loved cars, second-hand cars, old cars, call them what you like. And we are today at We Buy Cars. It's a massive warehouse in Midrand in Gauteng, and under this roof there's something up to 900 cars or thereabouts. There's a whole supply chain. They come in the front gate, they get processed and washed and cleaned, get brought onto the floor, the buyers come in, and they then move off the floor on the other side of the room. This business has been running since about 2002, and late last year it became clear that Naspers, which has been investing in e-commerce businesses across the world, is interested in buying this particular business. But the Competition Commission said no. Now, Faan van Walt is the co-founder of We Buy Cars. It's a family business. You and your brother started out in this business. Why did the Competition Commission say no to Naspers buying you in, what is it, April, May this year?
Bruce, yes, thank you. They opposed the deal, so it's not a final no. We're still in the very long and arduous process of getting approval, and that might still take months. So we're still very positive and hoping to do the deal. Why
would they oppose it, though? I mean, you are a family-owned business in quite a cutthroat, competitive space. I think you do probably 6 or 7% of all second-hand vehicles traded in South Africa on an annual basis. It's not like you're a 30 or 40% player in this market.
The arguments does not make sense to us, but that is exactly why we went on appeal, and we hope to get a positive result, because I agree with you. Our market share isn't that big that it would have a really big impact on the market, and we feel it would be a really positive contribution to the economy of South Africa. It will send the right signals to investors that we do welcome investments in our country.
I mean, 1.4 billion rand, that was the price tag that Naspers was prepared to pay for this business. Was it going to come in cash? Is it a share deal? Do you get some processed shares thrown into the mix? How does the deal like that get structured? It's
the final structure is probably to be determined on finalization of the deal, but it could be in one of either a sale of shares or a subscription agreement.
But you started this business with your brother, 2002. It feels like a lifetime ago, but it is literally just the other day. Where did you see the opportunity? Because in a market where every dealership has got a second-hand space, and there are lots of guys on any small Dorp street, there are lots of people selling second-hand cars. You go through Randburg, it's second-hand car lot after second-hand car lot. How did you think that you could make an impact in such a congested market?
We never really thought of this idea. It's something that evolved over the years, and I think we were really lucky with our name, because our name says exactly what we do, and I think we adopted to a need that people had to get a higher level of service. You can imagine when we grew up, you used to drinking water from the tap, and nowadays you buy bottled water. And I think just like you used to fix your leaking tap, you now call the plumber, and it's a service that people need. We are really busy. We don't have time. We don't know what the red tape involves. We don't know what the legal requirements are of selling a vehicle. So people rather opt for a professional service where we visit you where you are, at your home or at your workplace, and provide that service.
And South Africa's security situation, frankly, plays into your hands quite nicely, because the idea of putting a car onto a website and saying, come to my home anytime that you feel like, midnight or breakfast time, and we'll go for a little test drive around the block together, is a thing that maybe you might have felt comfortable doing 20 or 30 years ago, but it's not necessarily something you feel comfortable doing today, because there are lots of crooks who are scouring the internet looking for opportunities.
Unfortunately, we hear of that all the time, and it's actually great to have this now becoming a really competitive space in the market, where most dealers nowadays offer cash for your vehicle. We want your vehicle, instead of the traditional trade-ins accepted ideas they had, in offering that service to clients. So they are proactively also pursuing the market in that way.
I mean, how have the dynamics of this industry changed in, nearly 20 years that you've been in business?
So traditionally, people would have, advertised the vehicle, as you said, and wait for a buyer and negotiate a deal, or they would have just traded in the vehicle onto the next vehicle. So now with car buying services being around, it opens up all the new possibilities. You can shop around. You're not, caught into a brand where you'd only get a good price with sticking to that brand, etc. So there are a lot more options together with new legislation in responsible lending. You know, people are far less in a situation where they would own a lot more on their vehicle than what the vehicle is actually worth. And we've experienced that. We also, believe that ownership periods of vehicles have become shorter. People move on to the next vehicle a lot quicker.
Is that still so true? Because my impression was during, say, that period between 2001 and 2008, you'll remember it was a period where there was good growth in the economy. You got the sense that motor dealerships were doing deals and people were buying new and were trading up and were very aggressively liking to show off what they had. One gets the sense that now terms of purchase have extended. People are now driving a bit more carefully and are driving a bit longer and nurturing the cars a little bit longer.
No, yes, you're right in the fact that terms have extended. You know, you can nowadays finance a vehicle over 72 months, no problem, where in the past I think the limit was 54 months. But when you speak to the banks, they'll still say most of those vehicles are settled at around 40 months. So that shows that, people, they are eager to get into a newer vehicle. There's so much new technologies around in vehicles, more economical vehicles, electric cars are coming into play, etc. So people are really quick to sell.
I think last month's vehicle stats showed only 15 full electric cars were sold in South Africa.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a growing trend, and we'll probably double year on year on year on year. But the internal combustion engine is still very popular. We like the
and
noise.
in South Africa, it's going to be. I think there's a couple of things that need to happen. People need to change their mindset. I think VW announced a Golf-size vehicle that's definitely going to be for sale in South Africa within the next 2 years, full electric, which I'm really excited about. But at the same time, we need to have Eskom running to be able to charge your car. I mean, imagine there's a power outage, you can't go to work because your car didn't charge.
Best excuse ever, though. It's like, dog ate my homework, Eskom cut the power, sorry, I've got no electricity.
Yeah, and I think the government also needs to come into play here and, just, reduce the taxes on these vehicles to just incentivize people to adopt to this change.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, what our government treats, they treat electric cars like golf carts. Golf carts are luxury items, therefore the excise duties on imports of golf carts are huge relative to petrol cars. And that's an environmental thing, isn't it?
Yes, so I think they seriously need, and I'm sure they are considering changing or making a few changes there, because that's the way of the future. In 20 years' time, there will not be petrol cars around.
Have you stocked an electric second-hand car yet?
Yes, we had a Nissan Leaf the other day, very excited, and quite a few Priuses. These hybrid models are really coming in, so we have those all the time, but full electric was only the Nissan Leaf.
Did it move quickly?
Yes. I actually wanted to drive it, and then someone bought it. I couldn't get a chance to drive it.
It is. It's lovely. It's like a golf cart, but you're just all boxed in. We're talking to the founder of We Buy Cars. His name is Faan, Walt, and there was a 1.4 billion rand offer from Naspers for this business, which has got 3 of these massive warehouses dotted around Gauteng, one in the south, one here, and one near Pretoria as well, building a brand new facility in Cape Town. But they'll go around with flatbed trucks to places like Rustenburg and all over the place, picking up cars. It's a hive of activity, and as we sit here, people are coming in, looking at cars, setting off the alarms, and you'll hear some public service announcements in here as well, because this is one of South Africa's biggest motor car showrooms. More with Faan in a moment.